The City Council Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, is meeting in person today, Monday, June 5th at 6 p.m. for the purpose of discussing fiscal year 2024 departmental operating budgets and associated capital improvement plan projects. Notice of this meeting was posted on May 31st, 2023 at 2:37 p.m. This meeting is being held in the City Council chambers at 93 Washington Street, Salem, Massachusetts, on the second floor. Individuals may listen or view the meeting remotely via Zoom by using webinar ID 813-2903-9517 and password 259418. Joining us tonight from the Committee on Administration and Finance are all members excluding Councilor Watson Felt. Joining us from the Committee of the Whole, see Councilor Morcillo, Councilor Cohen, Councilor Prosnowski, and Councilor Varela. Just as a reminder, we do have one item tonight that was rescheduled from a prior meeting last week. So joining us tonight instead of as originally scheduled will be our IT/GIS department, and I am going to allow Matt to go first since you were rescheduled into this evening, and then we'll get into the regular order. So please, you have the floor. Just let us know. Pretend none of us have ever met you. Let us know what it is you do, and then you can get into the numbers.
Well, good evening, and thank you for letting me jump the agenda a bit. I appreciate it. I'll pretend you've never met me, and I'll keep pretending that you've never met me. How's that? So I'm Matt Killen. I'm the Chief Information Officer. I oversee technology operations for general government, finance, public safety, and to some extent, school department. So we have a number of expenses included in the IT budget that provide services to the schools. We're a busy department taking care of the telephone systems throughout the city, internet access, cybersecurity, computers, software, access to the financial system, you name it, we do it, and we're glad to do it. That's probably the 30,000-foot flyover. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about the budget. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Duo later. Questions and comments from the committee? I see there's some page flipping since we went a little bit out of order. Can give people a moment. Councilor Stott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my pre-questions, I guess I had before we came in for any discussion that I highlighted. One goal that you noted, or not goal, achievement that you noted for the past year, which I think we are all very grateful for, is the expansion of the hybrid meeting rooms and capacity. And you said one goal was you included the CLC Great Room. So thank you for that. My question was, how many rooms do we have available for hybrid meeting? Like I know we have council chambers, CLC, and then in the annex, is there 1, 2, 3 meeting rooms available?
So there are 2 public meetings on the first floor. There's also a video conferencing room on the 3rd floor, which could be used for public meeting. Typically, they're not, just because of building access and security reasons. But there is also a second room at the CLC, I think it's called the boardroom. So I believe it's a total of 5.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that. I know that that was not easy.
Yes, that's actually not a Zoom room, but they do rig that up for a Google Meet event. Yes. So
You're talking about camp school committee chambers? Yeah, okay. And then I had a question. I didn't know that last bullet for achievements was secure access to push updates to Waze and other navigation apps regarding street construction closures and other alerts. It was timely that you were moved to the same night as traffic and parking. But that was something that actually came up in one of our other meetings this year about like a street closure and having to change the navigation apps and all of that. So I'm curious, is it just Waze that you're linked with? Or I think Waze takes their data from Google Maps, or what's your role in that?
correct. So by getting that information into Waze, it actually pushes up to Google Maps and other services that rely on that platform. So historically, it was very, very difficult to get into there to push updates out, especially at the community level. So we were quite proud of getting that access, and it's worked out really well, especially during Halloween, which turned out to be crazy last year, as certainly you know better than I do.
Yeah, so if I may, I was just going to ask, that was my follow-up, was it utilized during Halloween season? Like, are the updates available to be that live? So like if, the police department closes down Derby Street much earlier than expected, is there like a partnership there that it's updated and pushed out? And
Yes, we have a partnership through the traffic and parking department as well as through public safety. So they can push that out not only on the Waze system, but also the My Salem app, which a number of people in the city are using as well, to get those traffic reroute updates as they're posted.
thank you. And then my last question was, I noticed in the data, the website sessions, you're expecting them to go down a lot, it looks like. Is there a reason for that? And are there any perhaps future plans for updating our City of Salem website?
And yes. So it's our expectation that with updates on COVID case counts and vaccinations and where to get a vaccination and all of those updates that were being regularly posted on the city website, that we're drawing a fair amount of traffic on their own. As those have waned, that traffic we anticipate will wane as well, and go back to something more normal, I guess, if there is a normal. And then, yes, we would like to pursue an update to the city's website. We last updated the site, I think it was in 2017, to move to a mobile aware site. The former salem.com had become kind of congested. So we did go to a cleaner look at that time, but it is time for a refresh.
My last question is, why wasn't my email working today? I'm just kidding.
It's a fair question. I can tell you Microsoft had a moment. It did. Microsoft had a couple of moments during the day. Yeah.
Councilor Hapworth, are you going to explain what the moments were?
I did have a Microsoft question, not that specifically though. Just out of curiosity, the line item for software licensing for Microsoft was annual Microsoft licensing last year of 100,000, and then it moved to a new line item, just Microsoft software licensing. Did your contract type change, or is it just the line item changed? So did it go from like an annual 1-year contract to like a 3-year?
No, the contract is the same. It was just really cleaning up. There's a few cases where you'll see line items got zeroed out and duplicated in what we hope was a little more clear language.
Okay. I'm just out of curiosity. Is it year by year that your Microsoft is paid for, not in 3-year? Gotcha. Thanks.
So Marcelo.
Thank you, Chair. Councilor Hapworth, is that the best deal they can get? You should check on that.
Yeah, in fairness, I should say it's all through the Massachusetts Technology State Contract. So we do get locked in pricing, and it really is multi-year pricing, but because of the potential for non-appropriation, we really try to keep it to a single year.
That's what you need to check into, Microsoft.
Yeah, under the state contract, it really is locked for 3 years.
I'm really curious about the Waze app and which departments are able to update Waze?
Traffic and parking and police, I believe, are the two.
So have we ever gotten requests to do it because people are using small neighborhood roads when they shouldn't be?
I have
Is
not.
I'm kind of looking at both of you. This seems like a really good opportunity to clean some of that up. I don't know if they will do that, but yeah, Waze sends people down little neighborhood streets that they shouldn't be. So anyways, my ears perked up when you have that line item about Waze. So you'll use this for instance, the closing of part of Essex Street for Bella Verona, that sort of thing can be pushed out to Waze and we can do, okay.
Any sort of traffic, where it could be a engineering street repair, could be a parade, could be a public safety issue. Anything that would impact the traffic flow, we have the ability to push that out.
So is there a length of time that that's required? Like, is it, if, let's say it's a 1 day thing, is that something that can be pushed out for 1 day and then go back to normal? Or is it a certain length of time that's minimum?
Yeah, you can typically set the length of the notice. Like, so if it's going to be an 8-hour road repair, you can put a
Wow.
10-hour notice on it.
Yeah.
If you anticipate it'll be a 2-day road closure, you can do that for sure. Yeah.
Wow. That's good to know. Thank you.
Let the record show we've been joined by Councilor Dominguez. Further questions and comments? Councilor Prasnewski.
Thank you, Chair McLean. Thank you, Matt. Your department's been extremely patient with me so many times. So I appreciate all the help that you've given me trying to navigate some of the stuff that's I sort of didn't grow up with, but sort of getting used to. When we had our meeting with planning, I asked Tom Daniels if there was a possibility that we could put our projects into folders. So when somebody clicked on a project in the city, they would see exactly where the status was for all the projects. If something was at the beginning, it would show that, the land was purchased by so-and-so on such and such a date, and this is the next step. Or if it's further along, it would be like a thermometer. You could go through page and page and find out where the project stands. I think it would save the councilors, the public, and planning a lot of phone calls if people could just get in on that. The way that you have to do it now is you have to jump around from the department to department. If you want to see a map, you have to take a look at the GIS map. If you need something else, you have to go with the building inspector's office or over to planning. And sometimes it takes an awful lot of time and you still don't get what you need. So my question to you, is that something that's could be done with minimal work, or is it something that's a big job?
I think we'd want to take a look at that a little bit, but if we're talking just a sort of thermometer indicator on, 3, 5, 7 projects, I would think that that's pretty easy lift, I guess. More of a deep dive could be a little bit difficult, but a 20,000-foot flyover just to get a sense of, the 3 projects on the page, this one's green, that one's yellow, what have you, I think that should be pretty straightforward.
And we will be able to link you over to the different places where you'd have to go to get other information, such as like a conceptual drawing or whose hands it is now. Is it DRB? Is it planning? How far along the project is? But just a suggestion, but I just think it would make things easier for quite a few folks. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Varela.
Thank you, Chair McLean, not being a member of the committee, through you too, Mr. Killen. I just had a question about the phone communication cellular telephone service for the amount of $40,000 for fiscal year 2024. Can you explain that?
Sure. So entering fiscal 23, we transferred the management of cellular devices and telephones, data plans, so forth from purchasing over to IT. And so that continues into 24. Is that the essence, okay.
Counselor Stott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, I just noticed another line item under personnel for the new request for Microsoft 365 administrator. We really think we're going to get someone at that 35? Or is that like an accounting thing that it's half of the request?
It's yes.
Okay, seeing nothing further, I will take a motion. I will point out that we have general admin to approve, and then we have fixed costs in its own table. Counselor Hapworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve the general admin personnel budget line item in the amount of $882.46 and the expenditures line item in the amount of $12,500 for a grand total of $894,546.
Counselor Hapworth moves to recommend approval of the IT general admin personnel budget in the amount of $882,046, expenditures in the amount of $12,500 for a total of $894,546, seconded by Counselor Stott. All those in favor? 3 plus my own. Matter carries. Counselor Hapworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve the IT fixed cost expenditures line item in the amount of $867.50.
Counselor Hapworth moves to recommend approval of the IT fixed cost expenditures in the amount of $860,750, seconded by Counselor Stott. All those in favor? 3 plus my own. That also carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing alarm. It knew exactly when I was going to call you up. It's incredible. We'll return to our regular order and we will go to electrical. Mr. Giardi, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, councilors. My name is John Giardi. I'm the city electrician for the city of Salem. Most of you know me. Oh, come on. Throw that thing away, will you? Okay. And basically what we do is we take care of wire inspections, we take care of fire alarm, we take care of traffic signals, and we take care of the street lighting. Just over the weekend, Memorial Day weekend, we had a tragedy down in Winter Island. That was one of our latest ventures. What happened was the contractor was in the area prior to us going down to try and help them out for the weekend and bringing more power to the RV vehicle site. What happened was one of the contractors dug up one of our conduits, which cost us a severe amount of time. It took the electrical department, the DPW, and joint ventures. It was about a week to a week and a half before we could get it all restored. But we made a temporary power hookup for Winter Island for the Memorial Day weekend, so they keep operating. And it's just about done. Ray has to go down now and pour some concrete over the conduits and backfill it, and we should be done. And latest ventures that we've had, left Rollins Street and Boston Street, the traffic control is in, the lights are working. They're the wrong buttons though. Okay, they work, they're not the right buttons. We have to go back and install the right ones. There was a mishandling of a couple of push buttons. They're supposed to be ADA compliant and they weren't. So that'll be done within a couple of days. Another major change that we're making is Boston and Grove Streets. We're gonna split the phases at Boston and Grove Street. What happens is that when you're coming out of Grove Street and you're coming down Nichols Street, Grove Street's got a green light, Nichols Street's got a green light, but then Boston's got a red light. So when you come around that corner, most people blow through their red light where the green lights, people are coming up Grove Street. Most near collisions a lot of times. So we're gonna make Grove Street one phase, we're gonna make Nickel Street another phase. So that's gonna make that intersection safe. We're also installing 16-inch countdown timers, which people seem to understand better and like better, and they're able to cope with the traffic better. Being that when they see walk across the street, they start, they can see 14 seconds, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, rather than somebody flashing. They don't know when the hand's gonna stop, but they know how many seconds are left on the timer. We found that to be very effective in traffic control. We're continuing that along Boston Street, so those will all be 16-inch heads. We're working on street lighting, which we're gonna be upgrading Boston Street, we're gonna be upgrading Lafayette Street and North Street. Those are our three main focuses, because the lights are failing. We have new ones that the contractor was bound to give us under the agreement. So now it's just a matter of us installing them. So as soon as we can do that, we will. And we've been working with the fire department on many issues, the police department. We keep busy. We're down at DPW right now doing an upgrade to their lighting. So hopefully we can get that completed within a week or so. And if there's anything else you guys would like to hear about, please let me know.
Thank you for that overview. And thank you for the change at Nichols and Grove in Boston. It's going to bring a lot of peace and well-being into my neighborhood and into my home.
And we've been working with Dave Kuchowski too. Dave's good parking director. Like Megan, we had talked about that, keeping in touch with each other. And we've been doing some joint ventures together. He's upgrading basically like the lot, the Salem 5 lot over there, the Church Street. So that's going to be improved. And one of the other things the guys did at the electrical department to save the city some money is that we lost the service at going up to, oh, I can't remember the name of the street, going to, not on street, by the cemetery. What's the name of that street? No, which one, Meg? Right, yeah, that was right there by the Green Lawn Cemetery, okay? And what happened was, I have pictures of that too, and somebody ran into the controller. And so we had, our guys had to do a little bit of work there. We had the two trucks, piecing that together. So.
Councilor Marcelo.
Thank you, Chair. The replacing the street lights, that whole project, how long is that going to take to replace all the heads?
We can't do it all at once, only because we're in between like emergencies and all that, that. So if we stood at it, we could probably do like a street in a week, but we can't do that. Hopefully we can. I mean, if we don't have any situations that, prevent us from doing our daily work, yeah, we can. And I hope to get it done by the end of the summer, all three streets, so,
Just wondering about Jefferson Ave too.
yeah.
Trying to get that lighting improved also.
Oh, where was that, Matt?
Jefferson Ave,
Yes,
especially near Wilson.
I'm sorry, Jefferson Avenue will be completed too.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
I didn't mention that one, but thanks for bringing it up.
Okay, great.
Okay.
You have under your recent accomplishments, you talk about Woodlands Road project.
Yes,
But we don't own those lights yet, right?
no,
Okay, because that light still is not fixed. the one-
correct. What's going on with that, Pat, is that National Grid owns the lights. In their registry, there's only one lady that takes care of the lights from Salem all the way to Gloucester, okay? And she goes from Salem all the way up to North Andover. And paperwork is unbelievable, what you have to fill out, for streetlights and stuff like that. And we don't own any decorative poles because like we own the aluminum poles. We bought all the lights on the wooden poles. So we don't have the material to even repair those lights that they put on those developments, okay? Because they're all fiberglass poles, with concrete bases, and all ours are either wood or metal. So we're trying to stay away from those type of lights because the installation is okay, but it's not great, so, and they're gonna have problems with those later on if they don't take care of them, but, so that's why the city doesn't want to be involved with that.
Well, so that's interesting then. I don't want to get too off topic, but when they asked the city to take over that street, what are we going to do with those lights then?
The lights stay the way they are.
So the developer will have control over the lights?
Oh, no, once we accept the street, we pay the bill, but the lights will stay the same. In other words, we don't own them. National Grid owns them,
Oh, so
Okay,
everything will have
yeah.
to go through national.
Yep.
Yikes. Okay.
which is good.
Well, it's good for us, but it's not great for them. Right.
Yeah. It should be. I mean, that's what we need to do is get them in here once in a while and hold them accountable. That's the whole thing.
Okay.
And you can submit an order to
Bring them
talk
in.
to, yeah, definitely.
I'm
How come if
making
you
a
do
note of
that?
that. Okay, okay. I have one question on your expenditures. The maintenance for traffic signals, the request was 52.8 and
Yeah,
you got 33.
correct.
What's that
Yeah.
gonna mean?
Was that? Okay. We moved it to the capital plan.
Okay, all right, great.
Good question. I brought that up only because the material is getting so expensive, you're talking 20-30%, hikes, material. So then Ann saw that and she said, that should be in the capital improvement budget, and I agree, so.
Okay, that's fair. The other thing is your data, your outcomes and performance.
Yeah.
I noticed that electrical repairs to public buildings went from 25 to 100 that's estimated for this coming year. What's the story there?
Shouldn't be that for us coming here. Yeah. That should have been 10, probably, yeah. Yeah, that's wrong, Pat.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
all right.
Counselor Cohen.
Thank you, Chair McLean, not being a member of the committee, to you, Mr. Giardi. First of all, I want to thank you for your responsiveness. There's several people who live around Lafayette Street who are sight impaired. And I didn't realize, as maybe other people don't, that when the signal counts down, it's important to have a vocal signal. And the people in the neighborhood really appreciate you fixing
Thank you.
those. Yeah. I basically have one question. You have, money set aside for 1.5 inspectors, wiring inspectors.
Right.
And as you and Mr. Racone and I used to talk a lot about the solar inspections, I'm assuming that you are hoping you're getting inundated with air source heat pump permits. And my concern is that many electricians who install them don't understand that, a panel, even if they have 200 amp, cannot accommodate putting that much, even though they have a disconnect. So my question is, have you been seeing hopefully a spike in permitting, requests for permitting? Yeah? Okay. Well, I hope you're going to see a lot more too.
Yeah, Mark and I, keep on that, and we've noticed the influx of permits, While you're on that, okay, the position and a half, and okay, so you understand too that I did talk to the mayor, Kim, the former mayor, Kim Driscoll, about adding a full-time position because we couldn't get somebody part-time doing electrical inspection. So was incumbent upon us that we would hire somebody full-time. And the mayor did agree to it, but we didn't have enough time to really finalize that. So it's something I would hope that everybody would keep in mind, that we could use that whole position. I mean, we've got 3 fire inspectors, we got 3 building inspectors. I don't know how many health inspectors we have, Dave. But we go in all the same buildings like everybody else. We need help.
Well, I'm just gonna speak, personally, you know, if we're gonna be a greener city, we're gonna need a lot more heat pumps.
Right.
And that's gonna dictate, I mean, when we did Solarize in 2014, that was 70 permits that you had to go and inspect. And that's a lot of
Right.
work. Because people have to, it's not just going out and looking at the specs, it's coming back and making sure they did it right. So, maybe what you provide is, the increase in the number of permits that are being requested
Mhm.
would be maybe a way to get, acceptance of the funding. Just a suggestion,
Okay.
since you've been suggesting.
Thank you, Counselor. All right. Appreciate that.
Counselor Hopworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just on a question about Councilor Marceau's question around the Woodlands Road lights. If the light goes out there, should residents contact National Grid or the city, or how does that all work?
National Grid.
Do we have that anywhere else in the city where National Grid is my ignorance here? We have
No. With the National Grid is our provider, and that's the only person you call for those type of lights. Okay.
where
Right.
else do we have lights like that?
DiBiase's, Osborne Hill Drive. Okay.
Typically outlying developments.
Right. Yeah.
On the I guess downtown or closer in town, are the two types of lights Cobra head and decorative? Is that how I
Yes.
understand that?
Yes.
What is the what determines where those go? Is it a city directive that when streets get redone, we move to the decorative lights, or is that a case by case project?
It's case by case, and it involves the planning department. It involves the city engineer, it involves the city electrician, and it involves the council, to approve it.
There's not like a
No, one person
plan or a
doesn't,
directive that each
no,
time this happens.
one person doesn't make the decision. It's
Gotcha.
the majority of people.
Does this money include, so there was a decorative light on Bridge Street that's been sort of hanging out over the road
Yes.
after somebody hit it, I think about a year ago. Does this include money to repair that? 'Cause I think the
Yes.
concern was there
Yeah.
wasn't money at the time.
But that's an insurance case, Ty. What happened was, that's happened a while back, and it takes almost a year to get something like that, replaced, because we don't inventory those lights. Like if I went out to buy one of those lights right now, it would cost us probably like $3,000, $4,000 just to inventory the luminaire and the pole. Never mind
The
the
light
ba-
itself or the entire pole is
the pole and the light. Yeah,
$3,000?
yeah, at least,
Actually
yeah.
sounds low to me. I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Counselor Dominguez.
Well, speaking of, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, speaking about that, well, I don't mean to take up everybody's time, but the city desperately needs a place to store things, like as far as material goes. We do not have any place like the garage at Jefferson Avenue is failing, okay? The doors are open, the water goes in. It's pretty dire situation in that department. We could respond quicker, like if we had a place to put all this stuff, we could, stockpile it. And if something happens, we could take a piece, go out and do it. But we can't do that because letting them sit there and rust all day long is not the right way to do it. So if you guys can think of a site that we could either get a couple of storage containers that we could drop off and we could put material inside those, I'm open to all suggestions.
Thank you, Chair McLean. I've been a member of the committee. Thank you, Mr. John, for being here, and also for your service, which I witnessed, and I concur with Councilor Cohen. The response are very, very quick. So the time that I call you, respond very quick. So thank you so much for that. I have a couple of questions in mind, and I see that in your goal and objective, you accomplish a lot, which is
Okay.
pretty good. And I just wanted to ask you, and my question is going toward more than information than anything else, not only for me, but maybe for the general public who is watching these meetings, which is very informative. My first question in regard to the smart traffic system. and the more ADA compliance citywide that you mentioned here in the book, you said that Raleigh Plaza is already being fully upgraded.
Yes.
My question is, in the other area of the city, there is any other area that you are working with the ADA compliance, and what is the percentage or accomplishment on that you already have?
Okay, what we're trying to do is like, we want to fully revamp North Street. That needs some serious work on North Street, okay? The decorative lights, they've been there over 10 years. They're failing, and we have to add some street lights. I had talked to Councilor Stout, and we talked about that, and that's one of the upgrades that we're gonna do. So we're gonna add some more lights to what's existing already too.
Good to hear that. And the other one that I have is in the comprehensive short-term and long-term plan to move people, traffic, back and forth, safety. You know that that's one of the main issues that we have. Traffic is it's been addressed for many directions.
Mhm.
And then you mentioned here that you are working on that plan. Can you please explain a little bit more what is that plan consist of?
Okay. The smart signal plan, okay. Basically, phase one was like, we went from Lafayette Street to Harbor Street. We went to Lafayette and Dow Street, okay? That was Lafayette and Derby Street too. That was all part of smart signal phase one, okay? Phase two is basically we went from Washington Street, Mill Hill Canal. We're working our way out to the MPDA station, okay? We went that way. Then the lights at the west ramp and the lights at Church Street and Bridge Street, that signal is on the smart signal program. We've got a little problem with that, but it's almost, fully operational. But that's phase two. Phase three will be, we want to bring in Hawthorne Boulevard, Congress Street, and New Derby Street, okay? And that'll complete, the smart signal program.
That financially mentioned here in the budget? I don't see any items that.
Right
Okay.
now, we have enough money to complete phase two and probably out of phase three
Good to know.
and capital planning, yeah.
Pretty good. Well, my last question to you, I always end with this. Do you have enough resources allocated in this year budget to cover your goal completely? Or do you think you might need some more money in the future?
We're probably gonna have to come back for a little more money because the time it took, see, there was a problem with the vendor. At one point, he submitted an invalid vendor number, okay? So we had to take the smart signal program and rebid it, okay? They're due to be open the 16th, bids, okay? So then we'll know better where we stand. And if the contractor holds his bid price, if he wins, okay, he may not win, we might have to deal with somebody else. We should be okay,
Right. Thank you.
okay? You're welcome.
I will, just because the topic came up, I think everybody will see if you look in the 5-year capital plan, the smart signal project is in there due to come back for a significant amount more money in 25. So it is planned. Councilor Varela.
Thank you, Chair McLean. Being a member of the committee through you too, Mr. Giardi. Thank you for all you do. You've been in this job longer than I've been alive, so I appreciate it. My question is for you concerning our streetlights. Have those all been somewhat converted to LED, or are we still operating mostly on metal halide or high pressure soda?
No, they've been all converted to
So-
LED.
All right. My question is, I know LEDs are still kind of a new technology concerning the maintenance and how much they do break down. Do you see a cost savings for the city as concerning just the viability of LEDs? Like there's like we're saving money, as far as maintenance, we're spending less on maintenance of these lights as well?
Yes, I mean, you have to maintain these lights a lot less than you would metal halide or sodium vapor. But with the way costs are running now, like if we have to go out and buy some, we haven't bought any lights for a while because we've had plenty in inventory. And plus the manufacturer now had to come up with some new ones for the ones that are failing. So they're supposed to last 10 years, okay? $10,000, basically 10 years. And we're on year 7 with those. And they were failing, so that's why they had to make good for the lights that failed. So, but cost-wise, I haven't figured out how much more the new ones are gonna cost. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Counselor Stott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for all that you do, Mr. Jardy. You're definitely always the first one to respond to my many inquiries, so I appreciate that. I just had a quick question, which has been touched upon here. This is the North Street lighting.
Yes.
So I wanted to confirm because there was emails going back and forth back in December about updating to the LED lighting, because specifically at nighttime in the rain, and you went and did a full inventory of the street, but it wasn't just replacement of the LED lighting. It was also adding a few new. And I just want to confirm that that is included in that total, because I think you said 6,000 for that.
I can send you a list, Meg, okay?
Okay. Do we have a timeline on that work? Because I thought that would be started already. Or
I
has
thought it
been
would too,
started?
but we've got inundated with calls. I've been working 2 guys short for almost a year and a half. So like, we're catching up on the fire alarm problems that we had. You know, we were failing in the fire alarm department. The traffic lights were not where they should be, okay? We're almost getting back to normal. So like, I'm trying to like keep repairing what we have failing and keep up with the new work that's coming aboard. But I hope to complete it all by the end of summer as far as the upgrade of the lighting. So before we get into dark hours, you know.
The sun is up a lot later now, which is nice.
Right.
One other follow-up question I had, which was money that we've appropriated before, and I believe it has been fixed, is the Leslie's Retreat Park. And the problem was the salt water getting to the lights that were corroding, all of that.
Yes.
Is that resolved now? Are we going to expect to have the same problem in 10 years with the salt water on the wires, or?
Now, where were we talking, Counselor?
Leslie's Retreat Park.
Oh, yeah, it's bad because, I mean, they're underwater all the time. I mean, there's nothing really we can do about that except, you know, try to maintain them. What we did do to make it safer for everybody, we went from 277 volts to 120 volts. You know, like we split it up because what was happening, like everything was burning up, you know, at the higher voltage, like with the water and everything. And plus,